Welcome back to Mimi's Storytime in the history of Dr. Seuss. That's right, an upcoming story is one of his books, his very first book. Anyway, got notes because, of course, this man has a history longer than your leg. And there's no way I could remember all of this stuff. All right, so Dr. Seuss's real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel. He Dr. Seuss was his pen name. A lot of authors use a name other than their own to write books for personal reasons of their own. A lot of women in the past, back when it was frowned upon for women to write books, would adopt a man's pen name. J.K. Rowling is a modern day version of one of those. That is not her real name. That is pen names for women have been used to disguise the fact that they are women. So Dr. Seuss, that was his pen name. He wrote under his real name as well. Anyway, his very first book is the one I'll be reading in the next video. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. It was published in 1937. He and his wife were taking a voyage to Europe in 1936, and he was inspired by the rhythm of the ship's motors. Now, or the ship's engines. Isn't that fascinating? Back then, international flights were not as common. They were people usually took a ship over to different countries. Dr. Seuss or Theodore Geisel was an author, illustrator, animator, and a cartoonist. He did not graduate. He went to a couple different colleges. One of them is Dartmouth. He did not graduate. Later on in life, they honored him with a doctorate because of all of his work in literature. He wrote more than 60 books as Dr. Seuss, but I cannot begin to tell you how many other books he wrote that were not for children. He did a lot of magazines. I mean, just cartoons in magazines and newspapers. It's astronomical, to the point that he won a Pulitzer Prize for citation in 1984. A citation can be anything that the Pulitzer committee deems honorable enough to win a prize for. In his case, he won his citation was for his lifetime contribution to children's literature. The citation recognized his work spanning nearly 50 years, which, quote unquote, significantly contributed to the education and enjoyment of America's children and their parents. I think that's really cool. His books before he even died in 1991, his books had sold more than 600 million copies and have been translated into more than 20 languages before his death. And things have just kept on going. As everyone knows, he's not only got his books, he's got movies, he's got everything you can possibly imagine. It is a life of its own. After he published his first book, the one I'm going to read shortly, he took a break and he worked in animation for the U.S. Army. He illustrated political cartoons in the animation and film department. As I said earlier, he passed away in 1991. He was one heck of a man. I think everyone has kind of heard the story of how Cat in the Hat came about, but I'm going to read it anyway in case you haven't heard it. In May 1954, Life magazine published a report on illiteracy among school children, which concluded that children were not learning to read because their books were boring. William Ellsworth Spaulding, boy, that's a mouthful of a name, was the director and later on the head honcho over Houghton Mifflin, which is a book publishing company. He compiled a list of 348 words he felt were important for first graders to know. He knew Seuss or Geisel, and he asked him to cut it to 250 words and challenged him to write a book that children couldn't put down, quote unquote. 9 months later, The Cat in the Hat was published using 236 of those 250 words. And of course, the rest is history. That is one of the all-time best books. Green Eggs and Ham, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish also top the list of his most popular. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this brief history. There are tons more. There's tons more information about this man. If you are so inclined to learn more about him, just give him a quick little engine search, and you'll learn more than you'll ever be able to remember. Until next time and the next tale. Bye-bye.